guys, welcome to the newest episode of The Bearded Gamer Show. Now, as always, I'm your host, The Bearded Gamer, Chris Arnone. Now, before I get into the, good news, bad news you love so much, I am still trying to give away a couple of Smite beta codes. I know you want them. What do you got to do? Well, here's the link to the video for my giveaway, so just comment on that video and help me get up to 4,000 subscribers. And then 2 of you are going to get Smite beta keys. Awesome little MOBA that's sort of instead of the top down, it's like a third-person action. It's pretty cool, admittedly. It's kind of going to change the way MOBAs work and make people think a little differently about them. 2 beta codes, 4,000 subscribers. Comment on that video. Good news, bad news. So we're going to kick this off with some bad news. I like to end on a good note, and there's quite a bit of bad news in this particular good news, bad news. So Square Enix has announced a new cloud gaming service called Core Online. Now you're probably wondering, well, that seems like good news, right? Why do I say it's bad? Well, it seems like recently a lot of individual publishers are trying to launch or look into their own cloud gaming services. So if I want to play a Square Enix game, I have to use their service. EA, maybe they're going to have their own service. Ubisoft, that's the problem. You can't get one service and get all the games you want. Or maybe, between 2 services, sort of like how we have 2 HD consoles, that between them, you get pretty much everything. But instead, it's all these different ones. And are they all going to have subscriptions? I mean, that could get really expensive just trying to play the games you want to play. Competition's good. Competition breeds innovation. Flooding the market is a whole different problem. Some good news. Now, Nintendo just held their Nintendo Direct webcast, which have got to be the most cost-efficient way I've ever heard of a company doing a press conference. All on the web. Didn't have to invite anybody. Good stuff, right? Well, it was all about the 3DS. No news about the Wii U whatsoever. But it was a whole bunch of new 3DS titles, many of them coming this holiday season. Now, the vast majority, this whole thing is focused on Japan. The vast majority of these games were very Japanese. A lot of, existing franchises in Japan that never come west. However, in this conference, they also announced a new Animal Crossing and a new Professor Layton game for the 3DS, which will most assuredly come our way eventually. Some more bad news. So PlayStation 1 classics have finally come to the PlayStation Vita. Yeah, obviously, there's a big but coming, right? 9 of them. 9 of the more than 100 PS1 classics on PSN actually are supported by the Vita. Now, there's some workarounds you can find on the internet, but the officially supported list in the US is 9 games. So out of the 11 I own, 1 actually works. On top of that, with firmware 1.80, your memory cards, which are proprietary, don't work on anything but the Vita and are expensive, are user locked. So you can't have saves for multiple users on the same memory card. You each have to have your own, which is just craptastic. So thanks, Sony. Way to kiss us on the cheek and kick us in the balls at the same time. More bad news. Yeah, I know. Lots of bad news this week. I can't help it. So recently there were the MLG Summer Championships. And I'm not going to talk StarCraft. I've got a different show with BlizzPlanet that does that. We're going to talk League of Legends actually on this one. The top 2 teams in the League of Legends tournament for the Summer Championship, Team Curse and Team I can't even say their name, were disqualified for collusion. Now apparently they agreed beforehand to play ARAM style, which is all random, all middle. Just, kind of have fun, show off, entertain the folks at home a little bit. But then they apparently also agreed to split the $32,000 prize pool between themselves, which is collusion, it's against competition, and they were both disqualified. Riot Games has backed up the decision. Now, both teams have apologized publicly, admitted they colluded, but they have also admitted that they did not agree to split the money. So, it's hard to tell, but at the same time, the verdict is in, the deal is done. Both teams were disqualified, nobody got anything. Except the fans, kind of got a fun show with that all random, all middle style. So let's end on some good news, for console people at least. Skyrim, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, has new DLC coming to it, and it's called Hearthfire. Now in this, you can buy land, build a house, decorate a house, adopt children, basically pretend you're playing The Sims in Skyrim, except, you can decapitate people and decorate your house with it. Have you seen the video? It's creepy. Anyway, so it's good news for console owners. It's only $5. Now, why do I say it's only for console owners? Because honestly, I have it on PC. I have mods. I have a house. I have several houses. They are massive and give me infinite storage. I'm good. But for the console people, good stuff, right? Yeah, okay. Controller confessional time. So I got a very special controller confessional for you. One of my new favorite people on the planet had an interview recently. Now, this is Corey Davis, lead designer for Spec Ops The Line, and he was talking in an interview about multiplayer in Spec Ops The Line. Now, this is kind of a long quote, so I'll read directly here. It sheds a negative light on all the meaningful things we did in the single-player experience. The multiplayer game's tone is entirely different. The game mechanics were raped to make it happen, and it was a waste of money. No one is playing it, and I don't even feel like it's part of the overall package. It's another game rammed onto the disc like a cancerous growth, threatening to destroy the best things about the experience that the team at Jaeger put their heart and souls into creating. Right? Right? I have made this point before. You should not shove multiplayer into games that don't need it. And in this case, they're absolutely right. If you haven't played Spec Ops The Line, what is wrong with you? It's like somebody did the BioShock thing for a military shooter. The story is deep and engaging. It's full of twists and turns, and it's so brutal and so real and so heartfelt and powerful. It really kind of blindsided everyone in the gaming industry this year with how truly good it is. And then there's this multiplayer thing, which it's throwaway. It's kind of, it's another military first-person shooter that's not Call of Duty, it's not Battlefield, it's not innovating in any way. Who cares? Why? Because 2K said it's got to have multiplayer. Especially, it's a shooter, right? It's got to have multiplayer. You can't do it without a multiplayer. But this is what I've been trying to talk to people about, and this is from the horse's mouth. Sometimes it gets shoved down their throats. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Happened to BioShock 2. Happened to Dead Space 2. They just tossed it in, and it didn't ever need to be there. We have multiplayer games. We have lots of multiplayer games. There are lots of gamers who love multiplayer more than anything. They go pick up Call of Duty and they never touch the single player experience, okay? There's MMOs. A lot of what you have on PC is very much about the multiplayer experience. If you're creating a brilliant single player game, you're not going to attract new people to it because you threw on a crappy multiplayer. You've wasted your time, you've wasted your money, all right? Now, if you really want to invest in putting multiplayer in something that was previously single player, let's take, for instance, Mass Effect 3. They did multiplayer right. It's co-op, it fits in thematically with Mass Effect 3, and it actually benefits you in the single-player experience. It all works together. It's a total package. That's how you've got to do it. And you know what? I am all for, tell you what, you really want multiplayer, hire a completely different team, unrelated to those making the single-player campaign, and have them build a great multiplayer experience. You build a crappy one, we don't want it. You've wasted your time. If you're going to do it right. Or just don't bother. And I tell you what, Corey Davis, I want to give you a hug for that right there. That does it for this controller confessional and this episode. See you next time.